Hi, my name is Mason Laney. I'm a junior, and my final project is inspired by the classic Atari arcade games Centipede and Millipede. So it just starts off on this title screen. If you press enter, it'll start the game. There's a lot going on screen, but I'll try to explain it all. So there's a centipede up at the top of the screen that's slowly moving down the screen. Every time it hits the edge of the screen or a mushroom, it'll turn around and move down a row. You control this little ship at the bottom with WASD. You can't leave this gray area. You also can't run into mushrooms and stuff. If you press spacebar, you'll shoot a laser. If you hit a mushroom, it'll play a sound like that. If you hit the centipede, it'll play a different sound. And if you shoot the centipede, the segment you just shot will turn into a mushroom, which causes all the ones behind it to turn around and move down into the next row, thus essentially splitting the centipede up. So if you lose, it plays that tone and just immediately starts back over. The centipede actually moves at half the speed of the bullets and the player. I accomplished that just by essentially having a tick counter that I incremented every time I went through the main gameplay loop, and then I would check the parity of that counter to determine basically whether or not I was going to draw the centipede on that iteration or not. So I'm going to pause this real quick and see if I can get this into a situation I can win, because it's a little hard when I'm holding a camera, so I'll be right back. Alright, I now hopefully got this into a situation I can win. As you can see, when the centipede reaches the bottom left of the screen, it'll loop back up into the previous row and just get stuck in a loop like that. But so if you destroy it, I'll try it next time. If you destroy it, it'll play a little wind jingle. Then it won't do anything until you press enter, and then it'll restart the game. Another feature is that these 16 LEDs correspond to the 16 segments, so every time you destroy a segment, that LED turns off. So it's a cool way to kind of visualize both which ones you've destroyed, but also like how many is in each of the different things. The placement of the initial mushrooms is not random, it's preset. I did randomly generate it once, but it's not randomly generated every time. It's the same. So so the hardest part was probably this bug that I ran into where sometimes when you would destroy a centipede segment, it would cause the ones behind it to move down into the row below it. There'd already be a segment in the row below it, and you'd essentially have two overlapping segments. I did end up fixing this, although it took a lot of time. But the way I fixed it is essentially the next time it moves down, so at the very least, by the next time it hits the edge of the screen, the two segments will sort themselves out, and one of them will be moved down an extra row, so it'll essentially be separated. My favorite part of the project was probably just like having everything work. It was cool that like once I started implementing stuff and just adding to it and seeing everything come together, because assembly is just such a low-level language, but it's cool to see that like with enough time and just adding enough stuff that I essentially have what is pretty much just like a working Atari 2600 game, and I just thought that was pretty cool to see how everything sort of came together. But you see, yeah, that is my final project.